Good morning and welcome to WKNI TV 25 Good News segment here. And we certainly appreciate y'all tuning in this morning. We got a very special guest. I don't get to see you guys enough as far as, media-wise, but like to hear more about it and maybe get y'all to come on, but maybe we can get a lot of it in today. But we have Miss Vicki Wakehaster from the Comfort Care here in Andalusia or from this area.
Right.
And boy, I'll tell you, people hear hospice and sometimes goosebumps go up on their back, but Teresa and I have had the opportunity to have y'all, in our family as far as hospice, and it's a nice thing in a time when it's needed.
Well, the way that I feel about it is that when a person gets to that point in their life where that they need hospice, that they qualify for hospice.
Right.
What is going to happen is going to happen with or without hospice. And I know that we are a help in that situation. I tell everybody, the benefits of hospice so outweigh the fear associated with that word. People just do not realize all the benefits, the cost savings, to have those RNs in your home, those hospice aides, the chaplain, the social worker, the volunteers, all the support. Most all insurances have a hospice benefit. Medicare sort of sets the rules. Everybody that has Part A Medicare, they have the hospice benefit. Doesn't cost them any more, doesn't cost them any less. If they never use it, it just sits there. We do have criteria. There's so many diseases and illnesses, and Medicare has set forth the criteria, like for COPD, congestive heart failure, Parkinson's, cancer, of course, and there's certain criteria that has to be met. We always say if the disease is at an advanced state. Sometimes people just get tired of going back and forth to the hospital, to the ER, hospital stays. If they get to that point and their doctor agrees, we do not do anything without a physician referral, then we can get some medical records, go and make an evaluation, and if that person qualifies, we can admit them to our program. The Part A hospice Medicare benefit, as well as like Medicaid, the Blue Cross, all kind of commercial insurances, it pays, on the Medicare Part A hospice benefit, it pays 100% for all durable medical equipment. And by that I mean hospital beds, wheelchairs, bedside commodes, over-the-bed tables. I know that we can get walkers, anything that's going to help. And I always tell people that when we bring in a hospital bed, we have really good mattresses.
There you go. Very
really
important.
good. It's absolutely. Also, it pays for the medications pertaining to the diagnosis we admit them with. Hospice is about controlling pain and symptoms. The pain, nausea, diarrhea, constipation, anxiety, sleeplessness. We look at, our patients aren't just like Mr. X, COPD patient. It's Mr. X.
Right.
It's not our COPD patient. We look at the patient as a whole. The doctor stays on board. He is always he or she, the referring physician. We have a medical director. When a person's admitted to hospice, it has to be two physicians have to sign a form saying that to the best of their medical knowledge, they believe this person has 6 months or less to live if, that great big little word, if the disease follows a normal course.
Right.
At the same time, Medicare has came back and said life expectancy is not an exact science. Physicians are only asked to use their best medical judgment. And plus we have that list of criteria that Medicare has established to go by, to help physicians and the hospice staff in determining. But, we want to live forever. There's the songs, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
That's right, that's right.
And surely until God He has a plan and a purpose for all of us. But we're all on a journey.
Right.
We don't know where we are on that journey. And it's not that we want to dwell on it. We had a patient last week, and he asked the nurse, he said, well, you came to help me die. She said, oh, no, sir. I came to help you live.
Difference,
That,
yeah.
yes. It's about every day being the best day that it can be.
Right.
And
Well, one of the things I like about hospice and what I've heard through Comfort Care and some of the clientele and some of the staff that you have, you work just as hard on that part of it as you do the spiritual end. And letting people know that you know there is comfort on both sides.
yeah.
I had a recent experience here a few months back where y'all were at a friend of mine's father's house and taking care of him. And there's a lot of spiritual moments. I mean, realization that death is imminent. Well, folks, let me tell you, death is imminent whether you have hospice or not. It's going to happen.
Right.
But in this case, we know that it's imminent in a certain time period. You know, and God has total control over that, but you are there to help with the medical as well as the spiritual needs and psychological needs of the patient. And that's outstanding because, you know, somebody has got months to live. That's, you know, you see this commercial on TV all the time with this cancer company where this lady says, a doctor said, you've got 6 weeks to live, and she goes to this place in Texas or whatever, and the doctor says, well, I didn't see anything stamped on your foot that said you had an expiration time. And that's how y'all look at it too.
Absolutely.
And you're there to service them. One of the questions I have, and this came up during this time, that if the family or the patient wants to get back into the hospital care, can you release them back into hospital care?
Now with hospice, the patient, the family, they have to be of the mindset that they're not seeking aggressive treatment anymore.
Right.
You know, sometimes sadly, it's just proven that the treatment measures did not have the hopeful results. When there's, you know, no cure, sometimes they can be treated and treated and treated, and they just get tired.
Right.
Just get tired of the endless trips. But when a patient, they just want to be at home, and whether that's in a nursing home, an assisted living, or their private home, they just want to be home and be comfortable. Then that's, if they meet that hospice criteria, is when we come in. Hospice days are actually unlimited. There's no set number of days you can be on hospice.
Right.
When a person signs up for hospice, just the way that it was set up, I think back, you know, early 80s, early to mid 80s, a patient has 2 90 days certification periods. That form I was speaking of that the physicians have to sign,
Right.
saying according to the best of my medical knowledge. After those 2 90-day certification days, Medicare says that hospice days are unlimited. My simple mind, hospice days are unlimited to begin with if they meet that continue to decline and meet that criteria.
Right.
But at any time during the course that we're in the home, they decide they want to go back for aggressive treatment or surgery to fix something. It's like, for example, we can have a patient that is on a lung transplant list.
Right.
Even though they are seeking, they want their number to be called.
Absolutely.
They want to be well. We can come in and take care of them, provide things. We hope their number gets called, and we hope it's successful. Sometimes that number never gets
not
called.
long ago with a liver transplant. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that. And that was phenomenal how y'all were there with that patient. And then as soon as his number was called, I mean, you all were quicker than the wife was packing bags up to get him out the door.
So excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's another opportunity to live. And,
Right, because we never know. And when I'm speaking with families, like, for instance, there may be 5 of us in the room, and we have the patient there that has an illness, has a disease that there's no cure for in our world. Well, I always tell them, and this is the truth, and this is from my heart, you know, none of us, this patient has this illness. There's 5 of us in the room. Does not mean that this patient is not going to outlive each one of us,
right.
because we are not promised our next breath.
True.
You know, and we're not a religious organization. I don't know how to talk without talking about the religious side. That's who I am. You know, we do have chaplains. Our senior chaplain is Brother Billy Bowles. And then we, Durwood Cleveland, he works with us. Also, he came on several months ago. And we look at the whole patient. Like you mentioned a while ago, not only what can we do to help this patient feel better every day, but the spiritual, you know, the social. And, you know, when a patient comes on hospice, we do not want them to give up hope. The direction of their hope changes. We want them, who do they want to see? Is there any place they want to go? You know, we have no restrictions on what our patients what they can do. One of our patients back in April went to the mountains.
Wow.
She wanted to go to the mountains, and so her family was able to take her to the mountain. We were so excited. We felt like we were there with her the whole time. And but we encourage our patients to go and do, and as much as they can, because there will come the time where they can't.
Right.
But it's a redirection of hope. A lot of times when people hear the word hospice, then they'll almost set up a vigil, so to speak. It's according to the patient, the family, but it's, you know, I encourage people to say those things you've always wanted to say. Go to those places. You know, we all have a bucket list. What can you do? You know, how can we help? But it's not a bad thing. I don't understand. Our world is so smart. You know, we have all this technology. They say we can clone people. We've got but our world cannot find cures for all illnesses and disease. I think it's according to that scripture. It's pointing to man wants to die, and after that, the judgment. That's a personal belief.
So we have the same.
Yeah. So we are. You know, this is a help and a hope. And by doing things, we're out in the public. We're all about our community.
Right.
You know, when I hear all the merchants and the different people talk about your hometown, then I'm like, hey, we're hometown.
Right.
We're an Alabama company. With our economy, I'm very thankful for that, to be able to work for an Alabama company.
Right. You don't want to be working for a federal
Absolutely. Yeah.
You would have got your pig slip today.
Yeah, bless them, bless them.
Yeah.
But we are an Alabama company with 12 offices in the state of Alabama. Our offices are strategically placed throughout the state to allow us to take care of our communities without the great distance. Like south of Montgomery, we have an office in Greenville, Andalusia, and Brewton.
Right.
We limit our territory, because when you need hospice, you needed them when you picked up the phone.
Comfort Care is one of the largest hospice facilities in Alabama, is it not?
I'm not sure. I've
heard that said somewhere. I'm not sure.
We are growing, and that is simply because we have not lost our focus.
Right.
And that is taking care of our communities.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk about a couple of things. And you've got an event coming up. But I want to, you talk about the care of the patient, you talk about the care of the family, and it's all encompassed into the same program. It's all there. But I want to talk a little bit about the toll it takes on the caregiver. And a lot of people don't recognize that y'all become very attached to the family. And like you said, when they went to the mountains, we felt like we were there. You have a life experience with these people, and when it becomes, we'll talk about it when we come back, folks. Remember, these are things that we don't like to look at on a face. You know, nobody wants to talk about death. Nobody wants to go look at caskets sitting on a showroom floor. Nobody wants to go to a funeral home. People drive by cemeteries and they don't even look at them. But reality is we're all going to die. And, you know, first thing I'll say is I hope you're spiritually ready for that. But if not, you know, get hold of me. We'll work on it. But if you need help, okay, and you need to have that extra edge as for comfort, there's people that do this work. And it's a service that Teresa and I have experienced personally. We've seen it. Most everybody around here has probably seen it in the family or directly here. And it's a very, very powerful service to the community to have. And I'm grateful to have y'all come in. I'm grateful for Hospice because, you know, when we come back, I'll tell you about, you know, I had my caregiving days. And, you know, it's tough on a family to do it by themselves. Be right back right after this. Remember, keep it real. Keep God in it. We love y'all. God bless you. Be right back right after these messages. Hello and welcome back once again to WKNI TV 25. Good news segment, and I'll tell you, we got a wonderful young lady in here talking about a service that is so needed. I can remember, I was going to tell you, let me introduce you first, Vicki Waycaster from Comfort Care Hospice, and we're going to be talking about, we've talked about, you know, some of the advantages and purposes and goals for hospice and some of the requirements, but as a caregiver, there's a lot of things that happen, and I can attest to that. I took care of my aunt who had Alzheimer's, my wife and I did, and advanced Alzheimer's. This is back in the day when we didn't have hospice, when we didn't have health care and things like that. Nursing homes wouldn't take her, okay? And Teresa and I had to do it. This is raising 2 kids, all elementary school kids, okay, and having a woman who we love dearly, okay, get up and have fits in the middle of the house, body functions, you know, at leisure. Yeah. And all of a sudden, you get up in the middle of the night and she's gone out the door. We had that happen, okay? Oh, and these things happen, and people don't realize the toll that it takes on a caregiver. Now, I'm not saying y'all cover, I don't believe you have anything to do with Alzheimer's, okay? I don't think. I don't know. You do? You can go ahead and correct me. All right. But, you know, that was tragic. Then my mother, okay, same situation, okay, years later. And she passed here in 2003, I think it was. And, but, you know, we took care of her. And I'll tell you now that, you got to take care of Mom. You got to take care of Dad. And prior to that, I had a brother that was a quadriplegic when I was 6 years old. So, you know, my life has been around caregiving, but it's been my family. Now, you know, that's a different aspect to y'all because you're walking into a stranger's home, you're taking care of this member, and you guys get attached, okay? You get emotionally attached, you get spiritually attached, and you know, it's just I don't want to say burden, but it's a change of your life each and every time, okay? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, you know, each one of us feel like this is where God would have us at this time in our life. And I tell everybody, if and when our world ever finds a cure for all diseases and illnesses, I believe we can all find other jobs.
Right.
But until that time, truly this is where God would have us. Yes, we do get attached. But like I said early on, when a person gets to that point, what is going to happen is going to happen with or without hospice. We know we are a help in that situation. A lot of people, you know, they'll say, oh, I couldn't do what you do. I would get too attached. If this is where God has placed you, yes, you can. Do we get attached? Yes. But we know we make a difference. In the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, somebody wakes up and the person, their loved one's not breathing right, or the color looks, they pick up the phone and call us. We're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I tell everybody, 8 and 5 are just times in the day when you work with hospice.
Right.
This is our calling. What we refer to is a hospice heart. And if you've got that, yes, you get attached, and yes, you hurt, and you may cry with the families.
Right.
But you know that it was going to happen. We're blessed. With the families letting us come into their homes, we are blessed. I mentioned this to you earlier. 12 years ago, September was 12 years ago, I had hospice in my home with my husband. I was working at Andalusia Hospital. We had started a hospice. I knew some policies and procedures in the business side. I had no idea. And we only had it just a couple days. He was a cancer patient. That is when I became a hospice advocate, because I do not know what I would have done without hospice. Never dreamed I would work with hospice.
You all come in, and folks, I want you to think about this for a second, and just briefly, because I don't want you to get your day down, okay?
Right.
But if a loved one or you are diagnosed with terminal cancer, I have a friend right now that is in Houston, Texas, and he has a rare cancer, and it's a short-term cancer. And I know when he comes home, he'll have hospice, okay? But what that does for the wife and the kids and the family, you know, what are you going to do when you get that shock, okay, that this is real, and you get slapped in the face, and you get angry, you get mad, you get frustrated, been there, okay?
Yeah.
And then you sit there and you have this, I call y'all angels, okay? And the angel arrives, and don't worry about this, we got this, we'll handle this, no, this is how we do this, we'll fill that paper out for you, we'll help you, you know, get the bed situated, not a problem, don't worry, we'll get the medications delivered. I heard it all.
Yeah.
You know, and I get teary-eyed when I think about it, because I watched Teresa's mom go through this with her dad. And it was horrific. I mean, it was so unreal. But that woman would come in there, and she had spiritual, she had comfort, okay? And Comfort Care is an excellent name, by the way. And you guys just kind of hang in there and pick up the slack, and don't let the family get burdened, you know, or the patient.
Well, we are there. We are there for the hospice. You know, it looks at the whole family and that whole situation. Now, one of the misconceptions about hospice is that we provide caregivers. There's not an organization that I know of that has 24-hour caregivers,
Right.
that like insurance will pay, whether that's Medicare, Medicaid, whatever. Some people have some long-term insurance that may pay for some caregivers. We come in to help the family, the friends, take care. Like I said, we're on call 24 hours a day. We have scheduled visits. We do, if a patient calls us or a family and they're in what we would consider a crisis,
Right.
They're not breathing right, they're in pain, whatever, we're going to come and stay until that crisis gets over. But every patient is individual. What they need, what that family needs is individual. Sonia Grimes is our social worker. She has helped so many patients and
She's
families. You know, there's resources out in the community that I may not know about. That's not what I do, but Sonia does. And if there's anything out there, if the family has a need, Sonia works with them. She knows a lot about VA. And speaking of that, you know, we have a veteran support group that meets at our office twice a month.
Wow.
John Gavan, he facilitates that for us. We are part of the We Honor Veterans program. And that was a program that was established because veterans aren't getting the care,
Right.
end-of-life care that they need. And it is just awesome. We never know how many people are going to come. It is a wonderful support group. It's not about hospice.
Right.
If I may, just speak about some of our support groups real quick.
Real quick, because I want to get into the event that
Okay.
we've got, but I
Yes.
don't want to tie you up.
We do have an Alzheimer's support group that has been going on, I believe, January.
See, we didn't have that.
Yeah. And it meets in the Dixon room at the library. It's been going on for over 5 years now.
Wow.
And it's the fourth Wednesday of every month. Meets at 12 noon. And it is absolutely, to be able to talk to someone that's going through what you're going through, that knows. Sonia Grimes, our social worker, she facilitates that group. She'll have speakers come in. Sometimes it's just the members of the support group. It's open to the public. They can call our office for more information about the veteran support group. That's for veterans, military, active military, the families and friends.
Wow.
You know, we need to know how we can reach out and how we can help them and what they need. The other support group we have going on right now is the Grief and Bereavement, meets out at Covington Baptist Association once a month. And then our volunteer program is ongoing. But I did want to throw that in,
Right.
kind of leading up to our summit.
Okay.
As far as community outreaches, we are blessed at Comfort Care Hospice that our company says, get out in your community
Right.
and be a part of your community. Our support groups, we're not selling hospice.
Right.
The summit that is coming up this Thursday that I know we're going to talk about, it's not selling hospice. We do several community outreaches a year. The summit is one of our largest, and every year we have the big celebration concert with Janet Pascal. She's just one of us and part of us. In January of 2014, we'll have Janet Pascal and the Hoppers over at in Off
And
again.
you'll be here talking
And
about
I'll
it.
be here talking about it, yes. But speaking of caregivers, that is when you go to bed a caregiver, you wake up all during the night a caregiver, you're a caregiver all day long, you are exhausted. You're physically, mentally, and emotionally exhausted. What we do for the caregivers is encourage them to take care of themselves. Just to be able to pick up the phone and know that you're going to get somebody on the other end that's going to be able to help you.
Right.
Or be able to, you know, we can't do everything. But if there's something we can't do, we're going to explain why, and we're going to work
cook
on
meals at times. I've seen that. Okay.
Well, you know, and we do have patients that get better though,
Right. Oh yeah.
and return to curative treatment, and it works. One of the story I love to tell. We had a gentleman. He was late 50s. I'm not real sure the exact dates. This was about 3 years ago, and he was just bad. He was just bad, and he graduated from hospice. We gave him a party and a diploma. The last I heard, he lives in Pensacola, Florida.
Wow.
Now, that is the exception.
It's not a death sentence.
That is the exception. That's not the rule. But it happens.
Yeah. We
And
have an awesome God.
Yeah,
So-
we celebrate with them. But, you know, we want to be a community resource. There are a couple other support groups that are in the planning stages right now. There is a great need. I know that when I was working and taking care of my husband, still had one child at home in high school. We were just starting our grandchildren. We're just beginning to come along. And I can remember just being devastated. I didn't know how to handle it. And then you feel guilty because you feel overwhelmed at everything you've got to do. And then you think, he's the one that's sick, not me. And it is like a roller coaster of emotions. But when you've got somebody to sit down and talk to you and assure you, not a bad person.
What we're going to do is, and I'll talk to you after we get done, but I'm sitting here thinking, Okay, you just hit a nerve, and we're going to hopefully have you back a lot more often, because these are things that folks need to know. And I can see where you're getting to where I'm getting, and we're going to go to the summit right now.
Yes.
Because, folks, it's a real thing here. These are real people that, you know, yeah, a lot of them volunteer, some of them get paid, but it's all good because, you know, when you need a friend, you need a friend. And there's plenty out there when it happens. A long-term illness, it's amazing how all of a sudden the friends and the families kind of go away from the situation because, you know, the doctor says you need to call your family in, okay? So-and-so's not going to have much longer to go. Then you put them in hospice. They go home. They live for 6 months, okay? People become apathetic, okay? And I hate to use that word, but it's true.
Yeah.
But the hospice care person is there when you need them. And, you know, I was kidding about y'all. I wasn't kidding, but y'all, I've seen y'all hospice people cook food, you know, for the family when there's a bad time. And it's not part of your job description. You know,
Okay.
you step out and you know, hey, throw laundry and, you know, somebody's not, you know, emotionally able to take care of things. I'll help you with that. You guys are the angels that come in a time of need. I want to thank you. Thank Hospice Comfort Care and everybody that works in this caregiving situation. But go ahead and tell us about this summit if you don't mind.
Okay, the summit. This is our 5th annual Covington County Summit. It is open to the general public. We encourage everybody to attend. Our guest speakers include Walt Merrill. He's been with us several years now. Mike Jones is going to come, and Mike actually passed the elder law,
Right.
and Walt is going to talk about elder abuse and scams. So those two guys are kind of working hand in hand. Our probate judge, Ben Bowden, is going to come and speak on probate issues. Frank Daughtry, he works with LHC Home Health, and he is actually going to do a presentation on fall management. That is one of the things that for all of us,
Right.
especially as we get older and have parents, what are some things that we can do?
I've been there.
So, and Frank's a physical therapist, and he's been around our community for many years now. We're just excited about him being there. Dennis Meeks, and you mentioned like your mother, was
Right.
it, that wandered out at night?
My aunt.
Your aunt, okay. Well, the Andalusia Pilot Club, they're actually going to sponsor their breakfast. And it's going to be breakfast casseroles and fruit, not the pancakes, because we don't have ventilation
Right.
in the kitchen there. To begin with, we thought pancakes and sausage. But, you know, they are
Life-saving.
right. And
I'm very
Dennis,
familiar with it.
Dennis is going to speak on that because they do that
He
together. The
flies
sheriff's.
around in an airplane with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So anyway, Dennis is going to be there
You know he
Thursday
crashed
morning.
an airplane.
Oh, that's another segment. So,
I had to do that.
Reggie Walker is going to be there. He is a counselor, and he's going to have a presentation on depression, anxiety.
Huge.
Very,
Very
very huge. Judy Short, she's with the Senior Prescription Plan. She's going to come right after lunch, and I think actually she's going to be on your program
Thursday, right?
Thursday,
Yes.
and then she's coming over to the summit briefly to talk a little bit about the Senior Prescription Drug Plans. Craig Greer, he is one of ours employees from our north, the Pelham, Birmingham area. There is we have partnered with an organization. We're the only hospice in the state of Alabama. Everybody will hear a lot more of that. You know, November is National Hospice Month, and we have partnered with them to bring the Conversation Project. There was a meeting on the 19th, I think it was, or mid-September out at Covington Baptist Association. We have booklets, and this is like end-of-life wishes. A lot of people think it's not about hospice.
Right.
It is about making those decisions. This booklet is designed just like you and I are talking. If we were at home and we're just sitting around the dinner table, and it is worded just like we talk about, like, what would you want to do? Well, like with me, if I'm in a car wreck, it's okay if you put me on life support for a while.
Right.
Because I may get over it.
Yeah.
For a while. I'm going to have that. I mean, how long I want to. But now if I've got a terminal disease, I personally do not want to be on life support. There's no right or wrong answers. It's individual. But Craig is going to be there with that information.
Yeah. Good idea.
We will give Walt, Reggie's, Craig's, and Frank, it'll be continuing credit hours for the nurses and social workers. 4.8 for nurses, 4 for social workers. Now this is for the general public, but we're going to have nurses there, we're going to have social workers, and so they're going to be able to get those credits. We do ask people call our office so we can have an approximate head count. We always sponsor lunch. It's become like a tradition for David's Catfish.
And his dad just came here yesterday.
Oh, really? So
he walked up while I was doing the news, and we just talked. I mean,
wow. Well,
nice guy.
They bring it out there, you know, and it's a hot lunch. We'll have door prizes all day. In between the speakers, it moves really fast. Is there a cost
for any of this?
There is no cost.
Wow. See, there you go.
We, like I said, we're blessed. The company that we work for.
When does this take place? What time?
Registration and breakfast is going to begin at 7:30.
Okay.
And the program is going to begin at 8.
Right.
And I've got the ending time at 4. I feel like we'll end before then. But this is a layback. We're going to have an agenda of times, and we are going to stick to those times in as much as we can. Right. But people have questions. They have, you know, they'll talk because, and it is, we call it the Covington County Summit. Of course, anybody is welcome. But it's our folks, you know, in our community, you know, talking and sharing. It is a great day of information, fellowship, good food.
Thursday.
This Thursday, beginning at 7:30.
7:30, and what's the phone number to call?
If they will call 427-4000.
Oh, that's easy to remember. 427-4000.
That's our office number.
Comfort Care Hospice, folks, and I appreciate you coming on today and being a part of this.
Thank you for.
We're glad you came.
Yeah. So. I do want to mention Power South. They're always so gracious to let us hold this event here, and we
people.
Absolutely, and we appreciate it.
I talk about it all the time. This community pulls together.
Yes.
I mean, I love this community. Anytime there's something down and out, they're there. They may not like you today, but tomorrow, if you need help, they'll be right there. And boy, I'll tell you, we just got a lot of love and a lot of godly people. Thank you so much. We ran out of time. I mean, you know, but we'll talk when we get to. But Vicki, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say this too. Thank you, Irene Butler. This is the type of stuff we want to put on here. And we're your community television station. And we want to be a part of the community. The only way we can is bring people on like this. We don't know who all they are. And as Ms. Butler found out, it took a phone call directly to me. We set it all up. We're proud to have folks on talking about events going on in the community. It's not about us. It's not about me. It's WKNI TV, your community television station. With that being said, God bless you. Thank you for what you do. Folks, a little extended right now, but it was good news. And we thank you for tuning in on the good news, Covington County, right here on WKNI TV. Remember, keep it real. Keep God in it.